Hello everyone, and welcome to my tank item guide, which is my first installment on my tutorials on general items that pretty much every new player should know. I'm going to be focusing on core items, not the more specific ones, so that you can know generally what to buy on just about any given character. Now, first we're going to be focusing on tanks. Tanks are damage soaks. They usually provide CC or crowd control to direct the flow of combat, and they generally add to their defensive stats, which are down here: armor and magic resist. Now, if you're a tank and you're laning, and you're new, I would suggest running with Adorn Shield. It's a great item. It gives you health, armor, and health regen per 5, which is pretty much everything you need at the start of the game. And it's used on all levels. Pros use the Dorn's items. Level 30s who aren't pros use the Dorn's items, and everyone in between. And so I'm going to do a little bot farming, and I'm going to be showing you what each individual item does, how it affects you, and what it looks like on the field. So we'll see you again in just a sec when I get some more gold after killing these bots. Alright, this is kind of a general thing for everyone. It's not specific to any class. I'd like to talk about the importance of boots. See how fast I'm moving now? Alright, now I'm going to get boots. Boots of speed. Every class gets these. It turns into every other form of boots, and you should have one of these by the end of the game. Alright, we're going to get boots 1. Note, we are moving faster. It is important to get boots as one of your first items when you go back. Some characters even start with them. I start with them on a couple characters. Get boots early. They're important. They're good for chasing. They're good for running away. And quite frankly, you just need to either keep up with your enemies or be able to outrun them pretty much all the time. The first defensive item that I'd like to talk about is in the armor category. When you're shopping, go into the defense category, armor, and it's going to be right here. It's called Thornmail. Thornmail is good against physical carries like Master Yi. It gives you 100 armor, and 30% of basic attack damage that they do to you is returned to them. Now I'm going to walk out into this field, and I'm not going to attack anyone at all, but you'll note that people, especially these minions, are losing health. You can see that damage going around them. And so, that's what Thornmail does. It's good against teams that are really stacking attack damage, but beyond that, it quite frankly, it just gives you, this is going to sound weird, but too much armor. Armor is not a simple linear function where I have this much armor, it's divided by this number, that's what percent reduced damage I take. It's on a curved chart, and the rule of thumb is once you're past 150 of either armor or magic resist, whatever you're buying isn't worth it because you're not getting the percent you need out of it. So Thornmail puts Rammus here past what he needs, and so he would want to build a different armor item unless they're really stacking attack damage on their side. Now the next item, and the one that I would probably take more on naturally tanky characters, is Sunfire Cape. It gives you 45 armor, so less than half of what Thornmail gives you, but here on Rammus it puts you at the 145 mark, which is just where you want to be in terms of armor against a balanced team. But what this does is it does 35 magic damage to enemies around you. Now see all these minions? I'm not attacking anyone, not a soul. But I can farm by simply standing here, and it works on champions too. I'm just gonna follow old Nasus back. Not attacking you. And you'll see that he is slowly draining his health. That was fun. Now the last armor specific item that I'd like to talk to you about is Frozen Heart. Frozen Heart is under the defense and armor section, so you go to home, defense, armor, and then it's right here. It gives you only 1 less armor than Thornmail, but it also gives you 500 mana, a lot, 20% cooldown reduction, which again is a lot, and it reduces the attack speed of nearby enemies by 20%. So, Shin here, 8.95, I get near him, he has less. See? I'll zone off him a bit. Alright, gonna catch up to Shin. See, it's back to 8.95, and it has actually a very wide range. It's very useful in team fights, especially against people that like to have their high attack speed, like Master Yi here. Now I'd like to talk to you guys about magic resist items. I've sold my armor item, and I've gotten a magic resist one. Magic resist works against enemy casters. It doesn't protect you against basic attacks, and it does not protect you against towers. What it protects you against is abilities from Annie here, or blades from Shen, or things like that. Stuff that can really nuke you down real fast. Now the big defense magic resist item is Force of Nature, and big meaning it gives you the most magic resist per single item. It gives you 76 magic resist, but it also gives you 40 health regen per 5 seconds, which is one of the highest in the game as far as regen goes. 8% movement speed, which is enough to break the threshold and catch up to an enemy. It's not a really noticeable difference, but it's enough. And on top of that 40 health regen per 5, it gives you 0.35% of your maximum health back every second. Now I'm going to get in a fight real quick, and I'm going to lose a lot of health, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Now I just got in a fight with Baron Nashor, and watch my health bar as it goes up. It is visibly refilling from Force of Nature. This is the prime attraction of Force of Nature, and some people get it just for the health regen, and it kind of the magic resist is the extra to boot. But what Force of Nature means is enemies have a very hard time poking you down, you know, using an ability every 5-6 seconds that chips a little bit off your health, because you're regenning that in between the abilities. Force of Nature essentially is a great anti-poke item, and it's also a great anti-nuke item because of the magic resist it gives. But what it does is it forces enemies, at least with spells, to nuke you down, because if they don't, then you'll just come back to the fight with full health in a minute. Probably the single most recognizable magic resist item in the entire game of League of Legends is the Banshee's Veil. You can see it around my character right now, kind of the shield. What it does is it blocks a single enemy spell that's directed towards you. Now I'm going to get Malphite here to throw a rock at me. It'll normally slow me, but oh, look at that. No slow, no nothing, and I can get away from Malphite. That shield will recharge in 45 seconds. Besides that, Banshee's Veil also gives you health and mana and 50 magic resist, which is less than Force of Nature would give you, so it's not as good against enemies that are doing super heavy damage to you. But the spell shield is a very nice thing to have around, as well as the health and mana to just generally make you more tanky and more sustainable. The final magic resist item that I'd like to talk to you about is the Quicksilver Sash. Now, a lot of pros use this, and I like it too. It gives you just a little bit more magic resist than the Banshee's Veil, but it gives you not a shield, but a different kind of shield. What it does is it allows you, when you activate the item, to remove all debuffs from your character at that point. So Shin's taunt, Malphite's slow. So we're going to go in here, and we're going to see if we can get one of them to use their thing. Come on, guys. Taunt me. There we go. And now I cleanse out of it. I'm no longer taunted. And you'll see that you saw that little shield thing come up. It allowed me to stay out of his taunt and get out of it. Now this has, I think, an advantage over Banshee's Veil, because Banshee's Veil can be broken by piddly little spells that come up once every 3 seconds. You can use Quicksilver Sash when you need it. It has a 90-second cooldown, so that's basically one free debuff remove every fight, which in the case, especially when enemies try to focus you and they use all their CC at once, can essentially negate the other team's entire CC, which is something that Banshee's Veil wouldn't be able to do. Now, the final tank item that I'd like to talk to you about is a very generalist item. I think it's very good. It's called the Aegis of the Legion, and what it does is it gives you a little bit of magic resist, a little bit of armor, not much, and some health. But what it does is it also creates an aura which stacks on top of that, and it gives you 12 armor, 15 magic resist, and 8 damage on top of that, and it gives it to your allies. So Malphite here has 99 armor, 53 magic resist, but when I get in range of him, all those stats change. It adds all those stats to him. And so when you're in a team fight, you can, by simply being there, you make your team more tanky. And at low levels, when you're talking about characters who naturally only have, say, a 30, 40 armor magic resist, this 12 and 15 is a huge boost to them, and it is a great team item that I think tanks should seriously consider. Well, that's all for my tank guide. I'd appreciate it if you guys subscribe to my channel. Well, I'll be coming out also with other guides about attack damage people and ability powered people. I hope this was helpful. Leave any comments if you like, and we'll see you next time. Later.